All right, what's up, metalheads? This is Vince, the singer from Symetria, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews, and today is an honor and privilege to have Vince. He's the vocalist of Symetria, and Symetria hails from New Jersey, and their self-titled album is out now, and you want to pick this up and give it a listen. So Vince, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Doing awesome. Glad to have you on here. Let's jump right into this, good sir. How special was it when you started seeing the pieces fall into place for this band once it started coming together as far as band members?
I mean, I'll be honest, and I watched, I was an avid fan of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels and stuff like that. I've always kind of been into watching the behind what goes on stuff. I know a lot of that's scripted and stuff, but you still get bits and pieces of it. And one of the things I definitely took away from him was one of the things he said is when you see it and you know it and you know you have it, you just know. And that kind of clicked pretty early on. That was even before James had even gotten to us. That was just me, Kevin, Blair, and Fernando. And I saw that very early on. And then later on, I was reading an interview by Corey Taylor, and one of the things that he had said, somebody asked him, hey, what advice would you give to anybody trying to, get out and, make a run at this and actually do it for a living? And the one thing he said was be different. And I went, well, we kind of are that. So that just kind of happened. But it was definitely early on that I saw the pieces coming together and had a pretty good feeling of what, it was going to turn into.
And you know what? And plus, like you said, you'll feel it, you'll know it, and plus everybody will be thinking a step ahead of each other. Like you'll be doing something and like, well, we need to do this, and then the next person adds it. So it's like you guys are answering each other.
Yeah, we've. I'm not gonna lie to you. We've written songs in 3.5 hours that I've just had to go home with and really straighten the vocals out even. I mean, I've had the lyrics just about done in that same amount of time. When it clicks and starts flowing, it just hits. What's
impressed you the most about making the self-titled album? What's caught your eye about it, if anything, Vince?
I mean, the first thing was I was quite a little, how do I want to put it? I was definitely kind of, awestruck and, definitely humbled and set back at first to be working with, somebody like Tim and, recording someplace like Tracks East where Hatebreed and Skid Row and, Symphony X and MOD and so many bands out of Jersey have, recorded that were wildly successful. To be working with people of that caliber on our debut release was extremely humbling and exciting at the same time. And yeah, I would definitely say that I found it, to be impressive. Absolutely. And then, since it came out, I mean, right out of the box, we had some great reviews. I don't know if you're familiar with Reverb Nation at all. Yeah, we used them, and I had it wasn't even released yet. I had the final tracks and everything, and I sent it in to them for their crowd review, thing that they do. And everything came back scoring like between 7.5 and 8 out of 10. And I'm looking at, every single song coming back with, 85th, 87th, 90th, 93rd percentile, and comments. Everything was a 7, 8. I mean, it was just really, really touching, to be honest, just to have people receive it that well. And you're like, okay, you have no idea to listen to it. So then it starts getting reviewed by people that, for all practical purposes, we'll say matter a little bit more. 3 weeks after it comes out, Tim Louie over at the Aquarium, which is one of the longest running, paper mags on the East Coast here, entertainment mags. And 3 weeks after it's out, he does a review and draws, immediate references and puts us in comparison with bands like Anthrax and stuff. And I even he gave me this guy sings like Joey Belladonna, which I was like, holy shit. I mean, you never wake up in the morning and expect to be put into that kind of category with other people. We got another fabulous review from Dawn King over at Evermetal. Eric May at the Grim Tower actually put in print A Breath of Fresh Air. So when you start seeing those things come along, the wheels start going, and you're like, holy shit, this could actually go somewhere. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're all sitting around a little bit in awe just at what's already happened since last September.
You worked with producers, Eric Rochelle, and plus you mentioned Tim McMurtry on this. So how was work with those guys? Did they just let you go at your own pace and step in when they needed to? Or how did they work this out?
Yeah, I mean, we had a week blacked out to start. That was what we had in the studio, and it went along pretty good. I mean, there was a couple times where Tim would get a little pushy with us. The one thing he did make a call on is the way Time was originally written, the original chorus was twice as long, and the lyrics and stuff, it wasn't laying down right. We had played it live a couple times and stuff, and it flowed okay on stage. But when it came to recording it just wasn't coming together. And he was like, look, this isn't going to work, guys. You got to figure something else out. So we kind of rewrote that one on the fly. But other than that, everything was really smooth. And as far as pace goes, yeah, I mean, we pretty much went along at our own pace. There wasn't too much friction. It was a pretty smooth process.
How long did it take you guys to record this album?
We laid everything down in 5.5 days, and then we spent another 2.5 or so, listening to mixing and all of that.
Any songs off this album, Vince, that stand out more to you, possibly? I mean, I know these are like trying to pick your favorite car or, animal, whatever, but are there any that stick out for you personally?
Yeah, definitely, because one thing is, everybody a lot of this stuff all started with different people. I mean, lyrically, I wrote most of the lyrics. Bits and pieces were helped out from other people, but as far as Time, the lyrics in Time really are about what I was going through when I wrote it, and the personal process of realizing that life ain't over, life ain't anywhere near over. Get out there, do something that makes you happy. If you're unhappy with your situation, do something to change it. Find your thing and figure it out from there. That's definitely the one. That and Too Late. Too Late is the other one. Too Late is very, very personal for me. It's all about taking hold of what you have left.
How much growth musically have you seen this band go through up to the release of this debut album, or has it just been more of a personal growth for each of you guys?
Oh, actually, the band as a whole, I think, has grown more since it released. We all came together, and we really decided in August of 2016 that we were just going to write and record right out of the box. We weren't even going to worry about really playing a lot, getting, we were comfortable with each other right away. We had good stuff flowing. And we said, let's do it differently for a change. Let's write an album, let's record an album, put it out there, and have something to give people right away, something for them to come and take right away. And that kind of goes back to what we had talked about earlier. That I kind of pushed for that because I had that feeling like we were really on to something. So I didn't want to go out there and play to the local scene for 2, 3, 4 years while trying to get somebody's attention and then decide, okay, yeah, this is pretty good, let's record it. I felt it was good enough right out of the box. So that's why we ended up going that route, and there was just such a short window in time between, when we started playing to when we started to record. And in a way, it's kind of cool now because there's been so much growth, in the band and in the way we are on stage together and just in the way we are together as a unit and the way we play even live now. I mean, I know everybody says it, but I say it wholeheartedly. If you like what you hear on the CD, you got to see it live. It's the addition of James having the second guitar present, not just Kevin recorded both parts on the album, but there's just that slight difference in tone and the energy that comes across with it and all the little ear candy stuff that, James and Kevin have thrown in there because of now having the 2 full guitars and the time to let it all grow and stew and get dressed up. And when we get around to doing a live album, it's going to be even better than the CD is.
Do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to help keep your mind fresh and open to not let the music get stale and not go down a path that you went down before that you don't want to go down again?
No, I don't. I mean, I've been in and out of bands for 15, 20 years, original music for at least the last 10, probably longer if I really stopped and thought about it. I've kind of always gone with the same process. I'll take the music when it's not necessarily done, but it's together. I know the structure. I know how many lines I'm going to have in my verse. I know how many measures I'm going to have in my chorus. I know what I'm doing with everything. And I have a list of ideas of stuff I want to write songs about. So I'll just start listening to the music over and over and over. And 9 times out of 10, one of the ideas jumps into my head that I already have a song kind of in the works for. I'll have ideas and stuff that goes with that. And then every now and then one just completely catches me out of left field and it hits me right away and I know what this song is going to be about. And sometimes I do like, the research process and stuff and, work it that way, almost like writing a paper back in school.
Sure.
But that's to keep the quality there.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back just a little bit when you're talking about young bands and things like that. Not necessarily young bands, but just bands first starting. Do you think that they have so much high expectations that they finally see how much the struggles are with doing the band, and then they just fizzle out? Do you see that a lot?
I lived it. I lived it with my last band. We had about a 4.5-year run, and I've seen it too. And that just was something I didn't want to go through again. Because 4 or 5 guys, girls, whatever, the group comes together, and they start playing music. It takes you a little bit of time. You get some stuff written. You feel is good enough to go play for an audience, and that's great. So you go out, you start playing it for your friends. Your friends like it. They tell some of their friends like it. Yeah, and this goes on for, a year or two, and you're out there, you're playing these songs, everybody's starting to get to know them, everybody's enjoying them, but you're really only exposing a very small group of people to it, and that's just what you can do. It's the path you've chosen to go with it. So by the time you finally get around and you got these things polished up to where you like them and you're ready to record them and you want to put them out, well, you've already exhausted the friend card completely. Half of them don't even care enough to buy it. They've got the stuff memorized from seeing it the last 3 years, and every bar you got them to go and buy a ticket to come see you playing. And you, as a musician, you've been playing these songs for the last 3 years. Now you're going to sit down and go play them perfect to record them and start playing them all over again in the perfect way you recorded them to try to make it go somewhere. And it just, by the time you get around to it, it's almost like it's past.
It's like you're burnt out, kind of like a job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to put it. You're burnt out,
In your own opinion, Vince, what can fans expect at a show from Symetria who have not got to see you guys as of yet?
It's high energy. It's entertaining. It's a lot of fun. We keep the tempo moving. All the songs are upbeat. Everybody who's heard it knows that. And when you see the band live, it's definitely another level. A lot of fun, you're going to go out and you're going to see 5 guys up there doing what they love to do, and that's just says a huge amount to any credit. Anybody who's ever seen a band play and left going, wow, them guys really, really just loved doing that and didn't care who was there. That's what you get when you see us.
And I like when bands are high energy and people think I'm crazy when I say this, but you'll know it when you're a music fanatic. When a band is on stage and they're feeling it, it vibes out to the crowd.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I went and saw the Slayer farewell tour a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time I ever got to see Anthrax with Belladonna.
Oh wow!
And I was blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him with Bush on the Sound of White Noise tour in a club in the Birch Hill back in Jersey 20 years ago, and they were great. I love Anthrax. I loved all the Bush stuff. I love everything about him, but to see him on a big stage with Belladonna like that was just amazing. And they stole the show. Yeah. They added 5 bands, hands down, at the show I was at in the Art Center in Jersey. They stole the show. And I'm sitting there going, we need to tour with them, because that would be 2.5 hours of just awesomeness on stage.
Yeah, and I get it, man, and I feel it when you guys do this. Like I said, you have to be a true music fan to understand what we're talking about. I was very, very fortunate to get to see Glenn Danzig on the 50th, maybe was it 25th, maybe? Yeah, 25th anniversary tour. It was him.
Okay, cool.
It was Danzig, and Doyle was on tour with him too. But
nice.
The cool part about this is I'm a huge Misfits fan back in the old days.
Right.
So him and Doyle did kind of a Misfit set during the Danzig when he came out to play. So he did Misfits and Danzig stuff. So just
that's cool.
Oh, buddy, the first time they were singing,
that had to be amazing, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, that's the first one. Even before they even talked about getting the Misfits back together, doing their own thing. But it was the coolest thing ever. That was the best concert that I have been to in many years. And I've seen some great ones, but I mean, this concert really stood out because of just some things that happened. I mean, it just really just sent chills up me. I had goosebumps on my arms listening to Danzig play all the Misfit stuff, and I'm going, I grew up with this shit. This is...
And it's something you never thought you would see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I was just overwhelmed with emotions.
And that's how it is every time I get on stage, man. It's the exact same feeling. You get up there and you're looking out at people, and it doesn't matter whether there's 2 people staring up at you or 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're that little kid up there to do your little kid thing, and you're just gonna go out there and do your thing, and you don't care. You're doing it for everybody to watch, and you don't care.
That's right.
And that's like the awesomest feeling in the world because you're just doing it.
Now, we are living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media. Do you like this to get albums out quicker and plus reaching out to more fans who have not got to hear of you guys possibly?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love the just the reach you can get digitally. We released worldwide digitally. The CD itself is out, in the U.S., and by the end of within a month of having it released, I got an email from a gentleman over in Germany. He ordered 40 copies to put in his record store. Something like that would have never happened 25 years ago.
Jeez.
Having the Bandcamp site, I've shipped CDs all over the world. People have Latvia, Russia, Sweden, Switzerland, China, Vietnam, and you name it. I got a stack of receipts and customs forms, for the accountant that he's going to roll his eyes at when he sees it. But it's amazing. And all of that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for, the information age we live in. It's a great tool. It can also be your downfall. Don't get me wrong. You can't rely on it 100%, but it's definitely great to get the reach out. We happen to, I know of a couple people overseas that play us regularly on their shows. It's amazing.
That's my next question. What's it mean to you, though, when you're seeing all these foreign countries, especially like the Philippines, Vietnam, and places like that, hey, they want your album to listen to? I mean, that's got to be a huge, huge boost of confidence for you guys.
Oh, it is. It's tremendous. When we sit here and we scratch our heads sometimes, and we jest about it a little bit because there's a lot of disbelief and awe still involved in it. So we're like, oh my God, who's doing? And you kind of chuckle about it, but the reality of it is, it's like living in a dream world at times. To see people all over the place just liking it. I mean, and the fans reaching out to us from all different countries through the social media pages and stuff, and to see, between the Spotify, and we're on a couple other different digital radio networks, and I get notifications every time somebody, follows us or fans us or, likes one of the songs they heard, and it tells me, what other bands they're listening to. So not only am I seeing our music be received around the world, I'm seeing fans of stuff that's all over, from old school fans of Metallica, Anthrax, Testament, Overkill and that stuff, to fans of like Clutch and Slipknot and even stuff that's like commercially rock stuff. I mean, I've had, so-and-so just became a fan on Jingo Radio, and I click on their profile, and it's like, they heard your song in the station with Nickelback. I'm like, wow, okay. It's really humbling to see it being received and welcomed by as broad of an audience as it has. And it's like a dream coming true. I mean, that was the vision for, the name. Symetria didn't have an English definition. We pulled up I threw it into Google. It spit me back the Urban Dictionary. In the Urban Dictionary, Symetria is defined as beautiful, humble, balanced, and intelligent. And the whole thing just like immediately took on this meaning of calm and balance and peace and, you know, honesty and understanding and love and caring and everything that music is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring people together and you know, make them stronger and, you know, a whole and stuff. You go to a concert and there's tens of thousands of people there for the same reason. They're all fans of the same thing. You know, so when the whole thing first started out, that's what like the Symetria dream is for me, is to have it become, you know, not just a household band name, but just a household word, you know, almost like a way of life.
So in your own opinion, what does Symetria bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now? I'm not knocking anybody out there. I just want to know what this band brings differently.
It's a little bit of everything, and at the same time, it's kind of like it's for me and Division is it's kind of like a coming home. You know, heavy metal came up, and then you had fans of bands come up, and they decide to start making their own music and stuff, and that's how the process goes, you know. And then fans of bands would pick a song that they liked the most, and they would write all of their music like that song or like that album or those couple songs, and that's where the subgenre was born. And now it's almost like we're in like sub-genres, or hell, sometimes it's like sub-genre. I mean, I've seen we're stoner, doom, thrash, Viking, Nordic. It's like, come on, guys, it's heavy metal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, if there's nobody out there just playing heavy metal that has a little bit of everything for everybody to like, it's all going to die. And we're at a point right now where, you know, you got Charlie Benante running around. I've read it 2 or 3 times saying, who's next? Who's coming up? There's nobody coming up fresh that can fill this void. Well, I got one, guys. Give me the shot. That's what I think we bring to the table. It's not necessarily something different that hasn't been done before, but we have a sound that hasn't been done in so long that it's needed again.
So what?
Similar to like what Greta Van Fleet's been doing, you know, very, very similar effect.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've even told Sam when I interviewed him on the show that you guys sound a lot like Led Zeppelin. And it's true. But, you know, he was trying to say that, you know, Zeppelin has an influence on them, but not as much. And I'm like, have you not heard your music?
Oh, no. There's no denying the influence. The influence is all there, and it's from everywhere. It's the Metallica, it's the Slayer, it's the Anthrax, it's the Korn, it's the Limp Bizkit. We're all over the place, and I think that's what part of the reason it's all clicking with everybody is we're all genuinely fans of just music as a whole. You know, I mean, some of us are a little more power metal or a little more thrash metal or a little more this or a little more that. Me personally, I'm just a music lover. I mean, I got a Jimmy Buffett parrot tattooed on one calf, and I got a bunch of skulls on the other. You know, I go from one extreme to the next.
That's awesome.
And I think the fact that we're all so diverse is what created this sound that has all those little bits and pieces of everything that's going to trigger an emotional reaction from people. It's going to trigger a memory. But they know it's fresh. They know it's new, but it feels like home. That's what I want Symetria to be. Like coming home for heavy metal.
Vince, what made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to do this?
Well, that's a great story to tell because I'm going to actually get to meet the man tomorrow. I mean, I was 18 years old, so I was finally old enough to go see Overkill, who had been my favorite band for years. And, I mean, I always loved music. I sang in high school. I, you know, played saxophone in elementary school and stuff like that. But the first time I saw Overkill and saw Bobby Blitz command a room and command the stage, I was like, I got to do that. That's what I'm supposed to do with my life. And that was the moment for me.
Isn't it special on how music can change someone's life for the better? I'm not going to say for the negative because there's no negative in it for me. It changes it for the better, folks. Isn't it special, man? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, music, I'm not even going to use the word changed. Music saved my life. I don't like going into details, but I had about as stereotypically fucked up a childhood as you could have and then add 10% to it, you know. There's not a doubt in my mind the fact that I couldn't disappear to my bedroom, throw on my headphones, and crank up Life of Agony's River Runs Red is the reason I'm still alive today. So music has and not just me, I know other people that can tell you very similar stories. Music has the power to heal, has the power to change, has the power to bring people together. And it doesn't cost anything to make.
How crazy is this, folks? Two guys right here talking about the love of music, on how much, and music saved my life too. When my father was sick, Metallica's Master of Puppets, it spoke for me. It let me get every anger that I had in me out. And it pretty much it spoke for me. Like you said, throw on the headphones, go away for a couple hours. I was sitting in the hospital waiting room on my dad on life support, not knowing if he's going to wake up, not knowing if he's going to be dead the next minute. So it was very, very hard and a dark place for me at that time. Yeah, we all can say music has saved our lives for damn sure.
It's the friend that's always there.
Yep, that is very true. Very true. And I hope one day I get to tell Metallica that face to face or on the phone or something, So
yeah.
I'm trying. I'm not going to give up.
No, don't ever give up. That's a big part of the message behind our music as well, is don't ever give up on anything you're chasing. No matter how big or small that dream is, don't ever give up on it.
Well, I'm glad you get to see Overkill. That's
I get to do more than see him. We're one of the local radio stations around here, that metal station. He's having his New Jersey Metal Fest is tomorrow, and Bobby Blitz is MC in it. So I actually get to meet him and spend a little time with him, and actually get to have a little conversation with him, because Jerry's going to introduce me to him and stuff. So that's going to be amazing for me.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Really awesome.
Yeah.
Let me turn the tide here a little bit. So you mentioned that music has saved your life. What about your guys' music? Have you guys ever had it to come back on you, fans telling you, hey, your music has pulled us through a bad experience, it's gave us inspiration to overcome obstacles, or it's just made us to get away for a couple hours? If so, what's it mean to you?
We've had people reach out to me. I've had people reach out and send me messages through a couple of the different sites that we have stuff posted on. Some of them are just as simple as, I'm so glad I found you guys. I love the music. I listen to it every day. Keep it up. I keep checking back for new stuff. Thank you for being there, which is great to hear. I mean, everybody loves hearing stuff like that. And then we've had them as, personal, as we had a woman come out to a show, and she had made a couple-hour drive to come out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was a 3-hour drive just to see us. And that was the first time anybody ever, and my wife came over to me. She goes, that woman over there, she drove 3 hours. She came out here just to see you guys. She found us on the SoundCloud page, and she listens to the whole CD almost every day. And it was the first real true fan we ever met as a band. And she just showed up out of nowhere at Dingbats the one night we were playing, and really blew all of our minds. I mean, I think my drummer must have bought her half a dozen drinks, because he was so touched that she came out like that, and came right out and said it to us, just let us know that we were the reason she came out.
That's awesome. Vince, I want to thank you for taking time out to do this interview with me. How can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this new album, tour dates when you go on tour, tickets, information? How can they do that?
The best way to follow us is the Facebook page. We're on it's facebook.com/Symetria Band. That's the first place information gets released, and then from there it'll trickle to the Twitter. You can follow us there. We're at Symetria Band. And then on Instagram as well, we have Symetria Official on Instagram, and then there's also my personal, I share a lot of information on as well, which is Vince Symetria on Instagram. But really, the best spot if you want to follow what's going on the most is through the Facebook page. Usually somebody even streams our live shows through there for us. And, we try to get it out to as many people as possible every time we play.
I just like to say, as a new fan, thank you for your guys' music, man.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thank you for being a fan. All right, what's up, metalheads? This is Vince, the singer from Symetria, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much, Vince, and I wish you guys the best of luck, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Nice talking to you.